Hello, students. Now, the most important topic is human respiratory system. Now, what does this human respiratory system consist of? It consists of the nasal passage, pharynx, larynx, trachea. It is also called windpipe. Then lungs, bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli and diaphragm. All these constitute the human respiratory system. Now, it starts with the nasal passage. When the air goes inside through the nasal passage, we are having two nostrils, and through this it enters through the nasal passage. Now, nasal passage is very important because it is richly supplied with blood vessels. And in the nasal passage, we are having hair which trap all the dust particles, and mucus is also present. It is a sticky substance which trap all the dust particles and stick to its wall, so that only clean air goes into our respiratory tract. Other than that, the richly supplied blood vessels allow to reach only warm and moist air inside the tract. Warm and moist air does not damage any tissue. तो बाई चांस अगर आप बाहर ठंडी हवा भी इनहेल कर रहे हैं तो वो अंदर जाके वार्म हो जाती है. So this is how it done. Then it reaches to the pharynx and larynx. Then from here the pharynx is also called voice box. Then come to the trachea. Trachea is the windpipe, as you can see in the figure. One important thing about trachea is that trachea is having rings of cartilage. You can see here rounded structure. It is made up of cartilage, and cartilage, you remember, it is a tissue which is quite flexible as it is present in your ear and nose. So this is present over here so that it will not collapse. This ring of cartilage does not allow to collapse the air passage. It is written here also. So from here the air reaches to the bronchi. You can see this trachea divides into two parts, that is bronchi, and these are our lungs, and in each of the lungs this bronchi divide into many branch like structure called bronchioles, and this whole lungs consist of millions of air sac which is also called alveoli. You know that alveoli is a unit of lungs. Our lungs contain millions of alveoli. As I already told you, it increases the surface area of the lungs so that at a time large amount of oxygen diffuse into the lungs, and it is quite thin, and this alveoli is richly supplied with blood vessels so that as soon as oxygen enters into it, it reaches to the blood and blood transported quickly to all the part of the body. So this is all the system. Then diaphragm also play a very important role. Diaphragm increases the surface area of the lung by pushing, because of when our lungs filled with air, it pushes down. It is just like a flexible rubber like structure, and it pushes down and becomes flattened so that it increases the area, and it allows to rush more and more amount of air inside it. And when you exhale, then the diaphragm pushes upward. When you inhale, it pushes downward, and when you exhale, it pushes inward, upward, you can say, and it pushes up, and all the air rushes out from your nose. So it really helps in this process. So see, it is written also, as we have seen in earlier years, when we breathe in, we lift our ribs and flatten our diaphragm, and the chest cavity becomes larger as a result. Because of this, air is sucked into the lungs and fills the expanded alveoli. The blood brings carbon dioxide from the rest of the body for release into the alveoli, and the oxygen in the alveolar sac is taken up by blood into the alveolar blood vessels to be transported in all the cells in the body. During the breathing cycle, when air is taken in and let out, The lungs always contain a residual volume of air so that there is sufficient time for oxygen to be absorbed and for the carbon dioxide to be released. It is very important. What is residual volume of air? Residual volume of air is the amount of air which is present in the lungs after the forceful एक्सेलेशन. आप फोर्सफुली जितना भी एक्सेल कर सकते हैं एयर, उसके बाद भी आपकी लंग्स में एक सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ एयर रहती है. नहीं तो क्या होगा, आपका पूरा जो रेस्पिरेटरी सिस्टम है वो कोलैप्स हो जाएगा. सो टू जस्ट टू अवॉइड दैट सिचुएशन देयर इज़ ऑलवेज अ मिनिमम और सम अमाउंट ऑफ एयर इज़ ऑलवेज प्रेजेंट इन योर लंग्स, and that is called residual volume of air. I'll provide you important definitions and points. Don't worry about this. So students, please try to solve question answers based on respiration topic which is in text, these questions as well as at the back exercise. And I will also provide you flowchart based on digestion as well as respiration, which will help you to prepare your notes and your for your revision purpose. So please do that. Thank you.